Welcome to Patty's Aquatics. So today what I got planned is I want to do a little bit of a project. DIY of sorts. What I want to do is set up another aquarium. I don't want to go to no store and buy no aquarium. I want to do it cheap and easy. That's one of the things I absolutely love about this hobby. What can you find around your house to be able to put fish and plants in? And I'm on top of that game because I've got a few of these clear plastic totes. I had them for about 2 years now. I've been using them for basically when I go to swap meets, I'll put excess fish and plants in there as little holding tanks while I'm getting things ready. Well, I want to put plants in here and I want to dirt this. What I want to do is put an area for growing plants to be able to propagate them from my other tanks and use them for upcoming swap meets. But I also want to put fish in here. I have a little bit of a breeding project I have in mind. And well, we'll get into that in a little bit. But anyway, these totes probably hold about 10 gallons, I would say, in that neighborhood. So with that being said, let's get started and throw some dirt in here. So I'm going to do what I normally do with all my fish tanks. I'm going to put 2 parts of organic potting soil to 1 part organic compost. Now, I don't think I'm going to need necessarily an entire inch layer of dirt in here. We'll see what this gets me first. I'll mix this up a little bit just to kind of get an idea of where I am dirt-wise. I know with smaller tanks, you don't necessarily need an inch of dirt. You can have just a little dusting of a layer. I think I want to put just a tad bit more in there and we should be good. That should be good. So next, what we want to do is get a little bit of water and wet this down. And I took some water out of my little goldfish angelfish pond. I don't need much, just enough to soak it a little bit. And saturate that dirt. And make it into that mud consistency. If you want a full view of how I set up dirted tanks, I do have 2 videos out there. I believe it was how to set up a dirted tank, the step-by-step guide, and how to create a natural aquarium. I can put the links up above here on those 2 if you're interested. And I just want to spread this out a little bit. Get yourself an even consistency of mud at the bottom. And good. Let me wash my hands and we'll get onto the sand. All right, then, as usual with all of my dirted tanks, I put sand on top as caps. And I'll be using my sand from the local Lake Michigan that I have here, and like every other tank I use. And then here you want to put at least 2 inches of sand on top of that dirt as a cap. And I'm just going to spread that out evenly over the top. Now the sand is pretty dry right now. I've collected this all last year, so it's all cleaned already. It's just probably be easier if there was some wetness to it. So I am just going to dump it in like this. Ooh. And we'll see what we got here. And the beauty of this bucket, I can see how thick a layer I have. Let's take a look. It's not too bad. I think I'll put a little bit more sand in there and call it a day. So I got it all filled up, leveled off, exactly how I want it. Now, where am I going to put it, you're probably asking? Well, right down here in this cubby. I designed these stands with the idea of being able to put tanks down here eventually if I wanted to, and well, that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be identical to this one. This is where my crayfish are. Now, this isn't dirted, it's just regular sand and rock and a bunch of crayfish in here, which I cannot see right now because they're good hiders. And I dump all my hair algae in here and guppy grass I pull out of the tanks because they eat it. So they're perfectly great for that. They're my algae disposals. Anyway, I'm going to put that tote down in this open cubby, and then we'll fill it with water. All right, so I got it filled up with water, put a light on it and a little heater in it, and I put a little bit of Hardscape in there. Nothing special, because like I said, this is main purpose is to grow plants and to breed fish, so I really don't need much Hardscape, but you know, I kind of like to look at it a little bit. And then I have, to start off with, a bucket of some clippings of stem plants and a little dorsage, and I'm going to put that in here to start off with. So let me put those in and I'll show you what it looks like after. So I got all the plants put in there. It's mostly overwhelmingly Ludwigia. I have a little bit of Pogostem stellatus octopus. I have some dorsage back in that corner, and I have some really small clippings of Ludwigia up here as well. And then that one there in the middle, that moneywort, I can never remember the name of it. So that's what it looks like for now. Sort of what it looks like down from the viewing panel. Gotta wait for the little air bubbles to dissipate from it. And like I said, it's enough stem plants, I think, to start this little tote up with. I love to put more in there, but that's what I got for now. Now, what else do I want to put in there? Now, like I said, I also have a breeding project in store for this. What I want to do is, I've been thinking about it for months. I want to try putting 2 females of my hyphen blue coral varieties in there. And then also a male of my koi swordtails. They can breed together. So I would be very interested to see what comes out from that if that's successful. So let me get some of them into my specimen container and I'll show you which ones I selected to go into that tote. Well, these are the ones I selected. I got the swordtail male. It definitely had some white into it, and it's still a young male. It hasn't fully grown its sword. Now, the 2 females I grabbed were a little smaller. I preferably would like to try to get one that has not been impregnated yet. The smallest one will take a little while probably to grow up and to get sexually mature. The other one I think is probably getting very close to that age, so I'm hoping it's not impregnated. I fed these tanks full of baby brine shrimp yesterday, so they're still kind of full. What I'm going to do next is put these into the container and just let them sit for temperature acclimating, and then I'll show you when I release them. All right, so the fish have been sitting down in this container for probably about a half hour now, temperature acclimating, so I can throw them in. So let's do it. Now, if you think there's any worry about throwing fish in here right away after I just dirted this, there really isn't. It's very minimal. The plants will definitely eat up a lot of any excess nutrients that will hit that water column. As long as you don't really overload this system with fish right away, I think you'll be fine with these 3 fish. And I have planned on throwing a few snails in there, which there's one right there already. That should be enough for this system to be able to handle with the amount of stem plants that I do have in here. So that is the plan. We'll see how these guys go. And hopefully these plants will take off and the fish will start to breed. I already see one female huddling around with that male swordtail already, so fingers crossed. And then as always, I will have no filter, and I plan on putting no air in this one. We'll see how that goes, as long as the fish will be fine. I truly believe they will. I have another tank in my fish room here, which I haven't shown yet. I haven't had air on it in probably a month, and the fish are fine, and there's lots of fish in that tank. So I do have an upcoming video about air in our aquariums, well, in my aquarium, so to speak, coming up in the near future, so stick around for that. Now that's just how easy it is to set up a plant growing and breeding operation. Get a few totes from your local department store and fill them up with dirt or just sand and plants and fish, and you could have a makeshift breeding operation without having to spend all that money on aquariums. Now, will these totes last long term? I don't know what their longevity will be. I would think they would probably be able to last a few years that way for sure. This is a goal of mine to get these fish possibly breeding, and if they do, I can move them onto an aquarium, and I plan on expanding my fish room a little bit yet. Shh, don't tell my wife that though. She's not aware of it yet. And like I said, it's just another operation for me to be able to continue to grow plants, to be able to propagate within my aquariums, and once swap season comes up again, to start to sell. And it gives me an excuse to put more fish in here, because I always want to try to mix and match some of my live bears that can breed together, just because I find it very interesting to see what kind of will come out from it. And I'm very excited with these, because if they would breed, we had the hyphen gene of those varieties, and then with those swordtails with that koi color, I'd be very interested to see what comes of that meshing of those two together. So just a little fun with it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell, because you don't want to miss any of my upcoming projects or see what happens with these guys. So that being said, always remember to think outside the box and take a step back into nature. I hope to see you next time here at Patty's Aquatics.